Welcome back to the Metal Lounge. I'm Forrest, joined by my good friend Alan.
Hello.
On today's episode, we're going to be discussing why this could be the most controversial download we've ever seen, and why Falling in Reverse's first show in the UK that we've all been waiting for 10 plus years is going to have to wait that little bit longer. Join us for all that and more nonsense on today's episode of the Metal Lounge. I'm pissed off. I cannot believe that they've booked this arena tour and they did not sort this shit out. The visa for Ronnie getting into the UK has been denied. I had tickets with mates, our friends, and I'm pissed, I'm devastated, I'm angry, I can't. I had Falling in Reverse posters in my room when I was 17, like genuinely.
Were they around when you were 17?
Yeah, The Drug and Me As You came out 2013.
Yeah, they were.
You were 16 because you're
a
a youngin'. It's crazy, man. Like I can't believe they haven't played. Like, well, I can believe because I've lived through it, but I was so excited to see them. It was literally, by the time we're filming this, it was tomorrow. No, on Sunday. They were meant to play Wembley Arena. It's not a small show. It's like 12,000 seats or something. That's not a small show
at all. They sell out almost everything they put out there as well. Almost every show they booked, they sell out. I'm shocked that they haven't been in the UK until now. I'm shocked that they didn't have anything lined up.
Me too, to be honest, because I grew out of them. Didn't grow out of them, but I went off them a little bit. I remember you being quite into like Rolling Stone and like the Fashion Relate era.
You know what? No, I was massively into the first album.
Drug and Me As You, yeah.
Yeah, because that was like I already liked Situations or whatever the album was.
Yeah, it's cool. It's Dying Is Your Latest Fashion.
Yeah, massively into that.
Banging album.
Then he disappeared off the face of the planet, and after
well, he didn't. He was in jail.
Yeah, which he won't shut up about anymore.
I remember you being into Fashion Relate. You can't tell me you weren't into that album. I swear you were into it.
Is Fashion Relate the one where he's sitting on the edge of like
the black and white one? It's okay. We're friends here, man.
I was maybe into two songs. There's a song called like
Champion.
Is that off?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Champion.
Rolling Stone.
I had massive beef with when it came out.
We both did actually. Yeah, that one we had like a sports car and like a plane and.
Well, it was the first one he rapped in ever. He came out and he was walking in front of a pink Lambo.
It was unheard of back then.
I almost shut off the modem.
Everyone was pissed about that. Yeah, they got a lot of backlash, a lot of hate.
Back when the thumbs up, thumb down ratio was on YouTube, that was a big issue.
The golden era of YouTube. It was. I think, like, looking back, it's it's commendable and it's innovative. But at the time, it was just like, it wasn't cool. It was like cringe. But that album was not that popular, really. Like compared to the last album, it wasn't until they died on that. They died on that cross and then got revived, as Ronnie has done in his latest music videos. Really, like they didn't falter at anything. Ronnie was so headstrong in what he wanted to do. He was like, no, I love Eminem. I love rapping. I'm gonna include this in my music. And eventually, he's ended up doing it very tastefully. But yeah, at that time, I still think those songs haven't aged all too well. I remember going around yours and you coming around mine and us like talking about that album, like hating on it and liking it. I remember you liked it more than me. I remember that much because I was not up for it really. I was surprised as you were because I thought that surely they must have been to the UK. And I just missed them. But no, they literally have never been to the UK. I don't think Ronnie's been to the UK since they played in Escape the Fate. I don't even know if Ronnie's actually played a gig in the UK. Surely he has. Yeah, that'd be interesting to check up, actually.
I would have thought so. Escape the Fate. Was he in another band beforehand?
Yeah, he must have been, but like not a big band. That was his first big band he was in. It was
the only one that had the potential to come to the UK.
He was livid about being kicked out of Escape the Fate, though. He took that personally.
Really?
And that fueled him to make Full of Rose. Like, it's not... I know, like, it seems a bit cheesy and cliche, like his whole story and stuff.
He got kicked out while he was in prison. Like, if your lead singer is in a cell,
you got to kick him out.
They had good momentum. They had one of the best emo/scene albums going. You couldn't go anywhere you wouldn't see someone wearing "Dying Is Your Latest Fashion" t-shirt.
Yeah,
I wore one playing a gig before.
Did you? You had merch of it.
I played at Delaware Pavilion wearing
legend.
one. I
never had merch from
I literally
that.
played at Delaware Pavilion wearing that massive like.
That's fucking cool.
It was like a cracked
with like the lipstick and like the
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool, man. I love that album so much. It's weird how big it was in the UK because, like, as an American band, like they weren't like massive in America. Because if you think about the biggest UK metal bands, they're all kind of a bit more recent. Like Bring Me, Architects, they didn't really come into fruition a bit later. Like we're talking about 2009 era. Now, what UK bands can you think of that were pulling punches in that scene? But I can't really think of any. It was like a Day to Remember, Escape the Fate,
Blackout.
Yeah, the Blackout. That's a good shout, actually.
Kids in Glass Houses.
Hadouken.
No, not even close.
They were kind of like scene.
And they were a bit later as well. They were probably like 2012, 2013.
No, 2008, 2009.
Really?
Yeah, they're OGs, and they quit in like 2017.
But I'd almost put them in the same like category as Mode Step. Because they are like dubstep, alternative dubstep.
I don't know. I feel like they really embodied scene culture, like with we're talking about like raving and partying and like how
True.
they looked and stuff.
True.
And they were very scene.
But like Broken Side were closer to scene.
That's
Blood-
crunkcore, man.
Blood on the Dance Floor.
Oh yeah, they're kind of all associated bands, but yeah, it was weird.
They were seen.
Yeah. They
Crunkcore
were
maybe, but they were seen.
Let's not get too caught up in the scene rabbit hole.
Yeah, we'll go down that.
But yeah, man, I'm just pissed off, to be honest. Like, I genuinely was so excited. Like when my sister sent me the news, I was like, oh. I totally saw this coming.
How much were the tickets?
But I don't actually remember. I think there were at least 50, like 50
pretty
to
good,
100.
Pretty good.
It was
for a guy that loves money and himself.
He did multiple dates as well. It wasn't just one gig. And he had his birthday. His birthday's in December, and he wanted to have a birthday bash of Asking Alexandria and Our Last Night a week or two later. And that obviously that's had to be cancelled as well. So it shows how confident they were. Like, surely they would have foreseen something like this happening.
Well, what was the deal? Like, the law got changed, right? You told me about this. You told me you got a ticket or whatever. I'm not the biggest Falling Reverse fan, but I looked up his Instagram just because I knew he would have something to say about this.
Yeah.
And he was just pissing his pants about it and like and crying that he's like, it's a 10-year-old issue. He went to prison. Like, yeah, I mean, the rules did change. Yeah, we're not allowing criminals in. I don't know if I disagree with that.
Really?
No, I don't know if I disagree with that issue.
For someone that went to jail 15 years ago, is clearly reformed and is going to be bringing in quite a considerable amount of, you know...
I hated that he said that it would actually be good for our economy.
Yeah, that is a bit arrogant,
I hated
to be fair.
that.
Well, no, but it's like a massive arena gig that isn't happening. I doubt anything will be in replacement of that. The UK economy obviously will not be affected, but like people that were like going on tour and like people that relied on this gig happening, like it sucks to cancel a gig about how many people it affects. When it's a gig of that magnitude, it won't affect the economy, but it affects the people involved that were set to, you know,
for sure. It was a job opportunity that fell through.
Yeah.
The venue's going to miss out. All the runners and the the stage hands, they are going to miss out on this opportunity. There will be more. I reckon it'll be back.
What I heard was interesting, is that apparently it was like the kind of visa he was going to get. Like, I think there's one visa you can get where like you're guaranteed entry, and there's another visa where it's like it's kind of up to the border patrol. Can you imagine if they were like, oh, we'll just risk it and just like go for the shitter visa, and then the border patrol's guy's like, nah, I choose violence today. Like, I know you're meant to play like a 12,000 cap venue, but
the UK
don't feel like letting you in.
The UK's been a bit weird with letting working musicians into the country anyway, like with visas and stuff. It's been, since Brexit, it's been easier for Europe to get their hands on gigs and musicians from overseas. The UK is just a difficult country to work with in those terms, and it becomes too expensive for musicians to come and play here. Yeah. Which drives up the prices.
Do you know what this reminds me of? This whole Ronnie Radke ordeal with getting into the UK. It reminds me of Tyler, the Creator. It was actually something that happened in Australia, I believe. I think it was literally some lyrics that he said in one of his songs was so controversial. He was denied entry to Australia. From what I remember, he wasn't allowed in Australia, and that had a knock-on effect to whoever was in charge of like letting people in the UK. And it was only recently Tyler, the Creator was allowed back in the UK just from fucking lyrics. So for someone that's gone to prison, you can see why it's a bit harsher. I don't know, man. I just think for the amount of people that would make happy, Like, it's just such a technicality.
Personally, I do think he'll be back. Like, whether there's a change in the law, this is like, you know, we've got Ellen DeGeneres coming over here now to stay in the Cotswolds or wherever.
Oh, really?
You see that video?
No, I didn't see that.
He's on on her show.
Oh, was he meeting kids on her show?
No, they're literally on her show. They're playing that buzzer game where you have to try and get the word quick enough. For whatever reason, he, as a little sort of playful threat, he says on a hot mic, that he'll like basically release the tapes or something.
Oh, really?
And it freaks out one of the guys on screen.
Oh my god!
And she looks a little bit sheepish afterwards.
No, I haven't seen that.
She's in the UK now.
She'll get fucking extradited.
She might get evicted.
When word came out about Ronnie not being able to make the show, consequently the show would have to be cancelled. They didn't say, "Oh, you get a refund." It was like, "We're postponing the show."
Oh, they're holding on to your money.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can get the money back.
So Ticketmaster are going to hold on to your money until he comes back.
Maybe I need to look into it, but I'm just hoping sucks. That makes me think though that surely it must be soon that they can't postpone it for like, you know, years.
They can cancel it.
I should look into getting my money back.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get that back unless you're not gonna get that back from him coming back soon. He's not you're gonna need to like fight for your money back.
Really?
Because the show's been cancelled. Look at the terms and conditions. The show's been cancelled.
I gotta get my money.
I hope so. You deserve your money back.
Yeah.
You got tricked by a shyster.
It's bad enough having to miss out on the show, but if I lose my money, I might just fucking end it all, man.
I wouldn't do that over Ronnie.
We have the download set list here. Let's go from the bottom up. Novelists. I fucking love... Do you like Novelists?
Novelists, FR.
Yeah, Novelists FR.
Yeah, they're cool. Nice old gent band right there. Yeah.
Do you know what? I still listen to that 2015 album. Is it the blue one? All the time?
Yeah.
It's really good.
It is.
Aura Bros, Echoes, bangers. The guitar work is unbelievable. So to see that live, I'm really excited. And I really like the album they released, I think it was 2 years ago, the Orange album.
I haven't listened to it.
Have you heard that? No. It's got Lost Cause on.
You would like the band right at the bottom, Unprocessed. They've steadily been growing in the background. I had a friend, our friend, show me a while ago. They had an EP out, clean vocals, but twangy, cool bass. Like they have like gent bass. That's just the sickest you've heard.
Okay, I'll check them out. And thanks for the recommendation. Do you know what strikes me straight away from this? Is how fucking low Loathe are. Loathe are massive.
It's in alphabetical order.
No, but they should be in the next set.
You reckon?
Yeah, they're bigger than Polaris. Okay, so I don't know all these bands in the middle section. They're bigger than Bleed From Within. They're a UK band as well, and Download is obviously pushing UK bands. They've upset someone at Download, I'm sure. They should not be that low down.
Probably upset a Deftones fan.
They're bigger than North Lane. Massively bigger than North Lane.
Really?
Yeah, look at their monthly listeners. Look it up, man. Bigger than Whitechapel. On the same sort of level as Whitechapel.
Tell me what the Steel Panther monthly listeners are, because I doubt they're that high. Steel Panther are in the second.
Yeah, but they've done the time a bit. So they're bigger than Bleed From Within. They're bigger than CKY, even though they've done the time. They're about the same as Dayseeker. They're bigger than Ghost Inside, surely.
You're upset about Loathe.
Yeah, I really am.
All right.
They're my favourite fake Deftones band.
I don't know.
Why are they all the way at the bottom? Like, whose feathers have they ruffled?
They're going to get their 35-minute set. I think they're probably going to be near the top. I think they're going to be more favoured than Currents. Currents are down there too.
Currents are big, man. Don't fucking sleep on Currents.
I know you've told me, but I do think they'll get. I think Loathe will get their time.
You know what? I think Currents might be bigger than Loathe.
You reckon?
No, I'm joking. But they're not far behind.
Loathe have a quiet song that has 5 featuring artists.
I didn't know that.
Loathe have not been around that long.
I get Currents because they're American, but Loathe, they're fucking British royalty.
I don't think it's got any... Loathe are not British royalty.
Yeah,
They've been 2 years.
They haven't? What are you talking about? They've been around for as long as Sleep Token.
Yeah.
And Sleep Token are fucking headlining.
Sleep Token are selling out arenas.
So they deserve to be at least at least 2 levels below Sleep Token.
I don't care what people say about Sleep Token. They have shown what they're capable of, and that is selling out arena tours.
I get that.
They've played incredibly big shows in the US. They've done it better.
The Loathe are a better band, though. Way better.
All right.
They're heavier. They're more metal.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Sleep Token aren't really a metal band. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Wake Me Up When September Ends is a pretty
yeah, Green Day as well. Like, I'm not that happy about that either.
No, it is a weird lineup.
But yeah, anyway, let's go through it. So I'm stuck on Loathe. Just get me. Can I shout out Graphic Nature?
Yeah,
I love the boys in
Graphic rip-off. Yeah.
No, they're not. They're like a pisscore. They're like.
They are, but what's that song title? That song title.
Oh yes, you're right. Actually,
got their song title from
is like Graphic Nature.
Sorry.
And they actually had a producer called Poltergeist.
There you go then.
No, you're right.
I want to get out of these standard bands. I want to get out to the Who is sort of headlining, and that is everyone that has their logo on it.
And now Nefrak. I really hope this is a teaser for a band called Chord Hell. Do you know them?
No, who are they?
They're one of the biggest funk artists. And I have a feeling that is a teaser.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%. Mark my words, we'll come back to this later on in the year. Hopefully you'll come back, Alan. We'll see Chord Hell on here.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
So the middle band's okay. So Bleed From Within, they have done time.
They
do very good. They do very well in Europe in all the sort of actual metal festivals. Yeah. Ghost Inside, happy to see them back. I mean, they had a big.
Yeah, he lost his leg. Whatever, get on with it.
They all had issues. Couldn't fucking walk. Believe that. He's a very cool guy.
Get away from my guys. Get away from my ghosts. I'm happy Poppy's playing as well. I fucking love Poppy's latest album.
She's fun. Dayseeker, they've been around.
Oh, I love Dayseeker. They're a brilliant band.
Mm-hmm. Sixth have a following, and they are closer to the roots of Download than a lot of these bands.
McFly. Can we talk about McFly for a sec? Why the f*** are McFly playing?
I guarantee you, they are gonna. It's gonna be a sea of people, an absolute sea.
They just don't belong at Download.
They're not a Download band, but you're gonna have metal fans that
maybe Green Day.
You're gonna get. They're a nostalgia band. Steel Panther, they're a staple when it comes.
They're fucking hilarious.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah, they're so fun.
I've never seen them, but I get why they're there. I don't think
they sell tickets.
They do, and some people are just die-hard like festival goers. It doesn't really matter who's playing. And Download definitely has its fair share of just addicts, just Download addicts that go every year, like Glastonbury. The Darkness. I
really like their vocalist content online. He's a really good
podcast,
content creator.
Sex Pistols
with Frank Carter. That would be cool. I think it would be really cool to see like Sex Pistols with actually like a coherent vocalist.
That will have a pull. That will definitely have a pull.
Spirit Box. Come on.
Spirit Box. You know what? Spirit Box are one of my favourite bands right now.
Really? Me too.
I've loved Courtney LaPlante, insane vocalist, and she has been. I've honestly liked her stuff for so long. They deserve to be there. They 100% deserve to be there.
Yeah.
They did a big tour with Architects recently that's just taken them to another level, and I'm happy for it. Don Broco.
They're always a bit of fun. I'm hoping I can interview them at Download.
Yeah, that would be cool. Jimmy Eat World, don't know much about.
Nostalgia
band.
Yeah.
Do they have a big following? Do they have a lot of listeners?
I haven't checked, but probably.
Bullet.
Always a good shout.
They deserve to be there. They're needed. If Bullet for My Valentine were not in that corner on that poster, they would lose so many people going to this festival because they would look at that top sort of area and think, oh my god.
Well, they could put Spirit Box there.
Maybe, but I think Spirit Box, female vocalist
could be higher.
A lot of people. Meshuggah should be higher.
Lorna Shore could be higher.
Yeah, but
they are very heavy.
They're too heavy for a lot of fans. Yeah.
I'm so happy Korn are playing. Can we talk about Korn?
Go for it.
They're fucking amazing. I was actually listening to them this morning. Their impact in fashion as well. Have you seen they had a drop with Adidas? They've got some Korn Adidas.
That's cool.
Some really cool clothes. I really want to get some of those actually. I love that range they did.
Don't they have a song called Adidas?
They have a song called Adidas. They always wore.
All I do is drink and sleep or whatever the lyrics.
All day I dream about sex.
Oh.
And they had they wore Adidas tracksuits in some of their early videos in the 90s. So they've always pioneers of Adidas in alternative culture. So it's really cool for Adidas to come back around and be like, you know what, we respect what you've done in the alternative scene.
Yeah. And
it's all come full circle. And people say, oh, you're selling out. It's like, no, they literally just love Adidas and they've been repping it for 30 years. It's like if you do something for 30 years, it's not selling out. It's being rewarded for your loyalty to a brand and incorporating it into the culture. Really happy corner playing.
Yeah, man.
Green Day, I don't get that much. They played Download before, I think. American Idiot's great. I'm sure I'll enjoy seeing them, but as a headliner, I think it's a bit weak.
You know what? If I went to this festival and that said Metallica If I had to choose between Metallica and Green Day, I'd watch Green Day.
I'd choose Metallica.
I've seen so many videos of Metallica playing now, like from live shows, and they just play 3 hours of garbage. Maybe. I think it would, like, I had a big Green Day phase. That was a big turning point for me starting to get into alternative music. You were into alternative music before Green Day.
Yeah, so Green Day for me is a bit, I've seen them before, don't really care. Kind of a boring headliner. Sleep Token, that's interesting. It's crazy the backlash they've had. I know we spoke a lot about Sleep Token already, but...
Yeah, I haven't seen... So there is a big backlash, because I haven't seen much evidence of it.
Yeah.
I guess on the download sort of post.
Just because of how new of a band they are. Like, if you look at the other bands, like Sleep Token started 2015, about 2015, about mid-2010s. Green Day started in 1989 or something like that. Korn started in 1991. For Sleep Token to be on there, generally bands have been going since, before the 2000s. Actually, Bring Me did headline, actually, didn't they? But even they've been going 10 years longer than Sleep Token. So to have Sleep Token there is just a bit sudden for people.
It is sudden, and a lot of people get upset about what genre they actually are, which I think is...
Yeah. There's two contentious issues there. I don't
care, like, what genre... If it's definitely alternative, you're not going to find... They're not going to play on Heart Radio anytime soon.
Never say never.
Never say never. They might be. Name another band beneath those top three that could do a headline, like an arena tour. I don't even think Bullet could do it. Like a sold out arena tour. They sold out.
Meshuggah, maybe?
No, I don't think they could.
Do you think they could?
No, they could definitely do a one-off, like, and maybe sell it out, maybe. But
what, Weezer?
Potentially, but not in this country. Not in my country.
Spirit Box have potential too, but not yet.
Yeah,
you're right, actually.
Sleep Token sold out Alexandra Palace in a day, I think it was. Not many other bands on that lineup could do that. So they do deserve that, but that also does say they aren't... I don't think Download pulled their weight with heavyweight metal bands this year. I will say that. But I'm not that upset, because I've never been.
I asked you to prepare a list, and I purposely left it a bit vague with the word iconic. Who are the top 5 most iconic vocalists in the scene?
Number 5, Frankie Palmeri of Amur.
Ooh.
You cannot deny his yappy high pitched vocals across all. He has the most guttural lows and the most yappy high pitched screams across the album, and he covers subject matters that no one would dare touch. And I mean that, especially in that Felony album, he touches subject matters that no one would.
About getting an STD from his girlfriend. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
All kinds of criminal based activity. A lot of
especially for the time in 2009. Did Felony come out? No one was doing that.
No one was doing that.
No one. And Franz was probably inspired by Frankie as well. Probably
they came up with New York hardcore. They were big in that scene. I think they just have he has a more emotional edge to him.
I don't know, like Fred Durst, he does have a lot of emotional songs like that as well, and they kind of have a very similar character type that I feel because I've heard it with Limp Bizkit and I see it in Frankie. I'm a bit to me it just feels not that original. The way he conducts himself, condones himself, it just reminds me of Fred Durst too much. And actually, what made me think that more is in Amir's latest album is very Limp Bizkit. But
I don't see Fred Durst as a hard kid at all. When he was kind of growing, he was a sort of punky, loud, backwards cap kind of kid. He wasn't really that hard, whereas Frankie came up in a sort of hard city, part of the city. He was in Queens. He had a front, or that was him. I don't necessarily... Didn't Fred Durst come up in quite a nice area? He wasn't Jacksonville, Florida. I'm sure, yeah, it has its bad parts for sure.
It just seems like he's the natural progression from Fred Durst. If Limp Bizkit were New York hardcore band, that's how they'd sound.
Yeah, he's a tough number 5 for me, because I wanted to pick a much heavier artist to go in the list. He's unmistakably Frankie. I love everything he does. I think I don't think Amur get the respect that they do deserve. They can be shrugged off as a bit of a bully, bully boy hardcore band, or a bully boy just metal band, but they've earned the respect and trust of a guitarist that you very much.
Yeah. Oh my god, the way they've revolutionized themselves. Josh Travis has completely breathed such new life into that band, and I think their next album is going to be massive. I think still wait. Like, obviously, they had massive albums with before Josh Travis. And, you know, like, we loved the album. Look at Yourself.
Look at Yourself. And the
we loved that.
Yeah.
And, like, but it was big in our circle. But it wasn't that big commercially.
No, so other albums were Finally.
But I genuinely think the talent in that band that Josh Travis has, and that Frankie Palmeri still has, and the nous they have for the scene and stuff, even the way they went in their latest album, all the songs were like -2 minutes, and they're so ahead of the curve, and they're so crushingly heavy, but in like a very accessible way. And I think that, you know, we seen bands like Throne and Alpha Wolf do really well in the scene and that sort of sound. And I think that Amur's next album, I'm telling you, it's going to be big. Like, I think they're going to... There's a reason they haven't released anything for like 4 years. They're cooking up something, man. I think we're going to see that some of Amur's best work is yet to come. Like, that's how I feel.
I hope so. It'd be tough to top Speaker of the Dead for me. But
it's nostalgic, though, that album. Like, it is really good. That album was based on kind of dubstep being fresh, wasn't it? And like that kind of dubsteppy sounds, and like...
Yeah, there was some electronic in there.
At the moment, the most popular heavy bands are like, I like to call it pissed core. Like Throne, Alpha Wolf, Dealer, like those sort of bands. Like, I think Amur need to kind of like plant themselves as the kings of that scene, and they've been in the scene so much longer than those bands.
Real ticked off core.
Yeah, ticked off core.
Not Loose currently have that.
Well, not Loose
crown,
are
I think.
a bit different though, because, you know, it's much longer songs with Not Loose, and it's more comes from hardcore roots, whereas like Throne and Alpha Wolf is. I'm
thinking Vocalists here, and I'm thinking Brian Garris. He is a ticked off man stomping around stage in a cardigan.
He sounds like a fucking kid having a tantrum.
He's in a knitted sweater and he is having a paddy.
Carry on.
Your number 5.
My number 5. Okay, I'm going to give it to you. And this vocalist is the best live vocalist I've ever seen, purely for their stage presence, and it's Jason Butler. That's my number 5. I saw Let Live. I've seen them twice. And oh my God, the energy he has live was so influential. Like, I still have never seen someone put on that much of a good show. And, you know, the videos I've seen of him and his voice as well, I'd never heard someone do that kind of yell that he does, that so like just reaches into your soul. Just the emotion that he is able to inject into those songs and those live performances is unparalleled to any of the other vocalists on this list, and for that reason he's number 5.
I think I had like a Kerrang CD that had the 6.8,
the 6 billion or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. A couple of years later, I think I came across the Black is Beautiful album, and I was blown away. I don't know if I'd matured a little bit, or there's a certain tone in his voice that I'd never heard before. There's this strange sort of like, there's a strange frequency in his voice where he's slightly auto-tuned. He's also deep in the mix. He's not like that is a muddy album.
A very poorly produced album, may I add. Like, I do
almost intentionally, and that's something that really bothers me when I'm like downloading music.
A lot of people it's bothered them. Like, I spoke with Kieran the other day, and like, apparently, you know, people are pissed off about how poorly produced that album. I think it was intentional, but I just don't think the execution of that intention was good enough.
They could have released a higher.
I hope they do a remaster of that.
I heard there's going to be.
Let Live are coming back. They're doing some shows next year, apparently.
Good. Yeah,
I'm glad you agree with me though, as an honourable mentioner at least. So
easily, he's a good number 5.
Like, have you seen some of those videos of him like hitting himself with the mic, jumping on fences, making himself cry about his mother, the speeches he had? And I met him in person as well. I met him at the Drop Dead store, and like, he was so genuine, so lovely. He has his heart on his sleeve. And, you know, he's a real special person, and like, you can tell that he's genuine and he cares, and, you know, that's more than most vocalists, to be honest. Like,
yeah, he's been doing it, and he is definitely like, he's close to his material.
I really hope that Fever, or if Let Live come back, he's able to get another, you know, height of his career, because, you know, Let Live were pretty big, but they never reached the heights of some of the new bands we've seen upcoming, like Sleep Token or Bad Omens.
Well, I don't think at the time that Let Live hit their peak, there weren't really any other bands hitting heights that Sleep Token have been hitting. They weren't getting arenas. Arenas weren't really getting played by Kerrang bands, if you know what I mean.
I think they might.
They
have
were getting
been.
close. We're talking, but you're looking at your Atreyus and bands like that, or Five Finger Death Punch. You're not talking.
That's true.
You're not talking about
Like
these
newer
sort of
bands.
metalcore bands that are coming.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Like, who were playing those Sleep Token shows and Bad Omen shows, and
I think they were bands that had been around for a little bit longer. So maybe
Parkway Drive, was it that? I swear they were playing arena shows.
They could have been there, to be fair.
Architects.
I know that Atreyu took Architects on tour on arenas for their first time, and that was around, like, we're talking 2015, 16 sort of time, and that was their first time touching arenas.
Yeah, Bring Me Us. I think we're doing it like just before lockdown. Not just before, but like a couple of years before lockdown, they were doing arenas.
Yeah,
they've been pretty big for a while now. Since I'm going to say 2015, 2016, that sort of time.
Really good number 5, Jason Butler.
Yeah. All right. So what's your number 4?
All right, he's a bit more small time, I'd say. No, maybe on par with yours. Your number 5, Johnny Craig.
Oh, do you know what? He's my number 4.
Is he?
Yeah. Respect.
He is an iconic vocalist.
I'm so glad we have the same number 4. That is. What are the chances?
It's true. He is, and that isn't. You know, we're not scoring him. We're not putting him at number 4 because he's like he deserves to be down.
Because he's a great person.
He's not number 4 because he's like next. He's not near the bottom of the pack. He like number 4 is
no. That's high praise.
That is high praise. Johnny Craig is one of my, if not my favorite vocalist.
I'm gonna try not to butt in. I want to hear your thoughts first.
Since discovering Johnny Craig, he is easily one of my top 2 vocalists, if not my favorite.
Yeah, likewise.
You don't get that rasp that he has, or that swagger that he has. You don't get that in this scene. And not only is he in that scene, he's also in the sort of, he kind of came up in the Swancore scene, so you do get to hear him over experimental.
Was he the original
tracks.
vocalist of Dance Gavin Dance?
He might have been, yeah.
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think like maybe they had someone before, but I don't think they'd recorded anything. But I think he was the first recorded vocalist of Dance Gavin Dance, who obviously are the origins of Swancore.
Yeah. I mean, I only found out recently that Will Swan actually did vocals, but
Did he? What main like
on their self-titled album, the Death Star album?
Oh no, yeah, I knew that.
But not.
The qualities he has in his voice is so rare. Like I know we say like he's a soulful singer, but I think that kind of like doesn't quite tell the story. It's
he has
like
chops. He has serious vocal chops.
But like I don't know, there's some people that put soul into their vocals, but it doesn't feel as genuine. Like, it doesn't, like when Johnny Craig sings, it like reaches the core of my soul. Like it's like soul to soul singing. Do you know what I mean?
It's like butter.
But like sometimes I hear someone sing soulfully, and I'm like, that it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't touch me. But when Johnny sings, it's like
it touches you.
It touches me. It really does. It just, whenever I'm passively listening to Johnny Craig, it turns to actively instantly. And I think the amount of music that you and I listen to, like we listen to a lot of music between us. We're just checking out bands all the time.
Oh yeah. The
fact that Johnny Craig is still at the top of that pile with some fierce competitors over the years, it speaks volumes. I think he is one of a kind.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Although talking about him has made me realise that somebody is not in my top 5, and I'm going to have to give them an honourable mention right now.
Tillian.
You could do the same. It's not Tillian.
Not Tillian.
It's Tyler Carter.
Oh yes, Tyler Carter. Yeah, he doesn't get the respect
and issues. Well, maybe he got too much respect and he messed up,
abused it,
and now we don't have one of the better bands that came out of the scene.
Yeah, no, I do agree. But Tyler Carter, no offense to him, because this is anyone. If you're comparing this to Johnny Craig, he sings soulfully, but I don't feel it in the way I do Johnny Craig. Do you know what I mean?
I get you, but like when we were talking about chops, he has serious like
he's got the chops,
gospel
but like
and R&B
but
chops.
so many people have the chops. Like not so many people, but a lot of people have the chops. But to have the soul that comes with the chops is a different story. You're talking on like two hands, like people that have that, and especially in that particular niche of post-hardcore swancore, like there's just no one that does it for me like Johnny Craig. And I've been searching, man.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're talking out of term. When go back and listen to "Disappear," "Remember When," and listen to Tyler Carter.
Oh yeah, that yeah,
Give
but
it soul.
yeah, but that he's relying on a gospel choir, and
Only
he's
the end.
relying
Only the end.
on the production and the whole songwriting. Whereas Johnny Craig, you hear him with fucking just Will Swan and like the drummer of Dance Go and Dance. It doesn't need any bells or whistles. It's just like Tyler Dreams. And it's just like, it's just there. Whereas Tyler Carter, he needs the whole setup and the whole, like, you know.
That was an Emma Rosa lyric you just sang.
Yeah, probably.
Taylor cheats.
Yeah. Yeah. Well spotted.
I forgot he was in that band as well.
Taylor cheats. But that's like him on his own. And as soon as he says that lyric, you're like, oh. Like you're just taken there.
That was the first. That was a Rise Records YouTube recommended song that came up. I saw that little like peach plant thing as a thumbnail. I was like, what the hell is that? Best discovery.
Yeah, that must have been a beautiful way to find it. Actually, I found it very unorganically looking at Johnny Craig's like stuff he's been in.
Oh really?
And I was like, I'm going to try and get into this because I love Johnny Craig. And then it was that song pretty much was the only one that I kept with me.
Yeah, it's called like Relativity or something.
Yeah, Relativity. That rings a bell.
First time I come across Ronnie Craig, that was my introduction.
Really?
Hearing him
That's
sing
cool.
Tailored Sheets, but then all the lyrics were like to fit this prison bed or something. Like all the comments were saying to fit this prison. I don't know if he was sentenced to prison because of his issues with the MacBook. The book.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Yeah, I think that was the time he was in the news. But that's another reason why I love Johnny Craig though, is like the amount of entertainment he has in the public eye. Like I say entertainment loosely, like I know that sounds offensive to the people he's hurt and wronged. Like I don't make light of it, but I think it's special to me if a vocalist kind of transcends music, and Johnny Craig does in a way, not in a good way, but
no, he blanked still you. He's wronged you.
He wronged me and I loved it. I didn't love it, but it was interesting. It was kind of what you expect. Like I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
by
he
it.
didn't break character.
He didn't break character.
He's
like the whole MacBook scandal is fucking hilarious now, and like just him being addicted to heroin. I don't know. There's something about that like maybe you need to be addicted to heroin to have an amazing voice. Because one
Definitely
guy that has a soulful voice was also addicted to heroin. No, who's the singer of Circa Survive? Anthony Green.
Anthony Green, yeah.
Anthony Green. He was addicted to heroin, and he has a very soulful voice.
Honourable mention. Is that your
honourable mention? Yeah, that's my honourable mention.
God, he's had so many songs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's had so many songs, and they all sound great. None of them stick in my head, but like they are all great.
What's that Balloon album? The Great Big Balloon. I love that Anthony Green album.
Is that self-titled?
The Great Wide Big Balloon.
Greatest of all lost.
You know what? I was convinced you were going to say Matt Geisy when you were like, not a big artist, but a small one.
We're
tangenting.
We're tangenting
big
very
time.
hard.
All right, let's
Anthony Green, Circa Survive, very, very good vocalist.
The Great Big Blake.
I don't think that is not the album.
The Great Red Wide Big Balloon.
The Great Big Gig in the Sky.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been up Johnny Craig's arse for far too long.
Bit of an obvious one, but it works with what you just said about the fashion thing. Oli Sykes.
Oli Sykes.
He's my number three.
I thought you were an Oli Sykes hater, man.
I think. Now, don't get me. I don't think all of his vocals make him. He's not a better vocalist than Johnny Craig.
No way. On pure vocal talent, no. He has got a lot better though.
He's got.
I will admit, Oli Sykes is my number one, and you called it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an iconic. He's an iconic human being. Like.
He has done a lot for the market.
He's kept the market.
He's fucking...
Vanguard wouldn't exist.
No, it wouldn't. He's affected credit scores, man. He has produced a lot of merchandise. Drop Dead.
True. That's how
I'm probably wearing some Drop Dead. I've got Drop Dead underwear on right now.
You were wearing like 100% Drop Dead when I first met you.
Yeah. Actually...
Even a jacket.
This is Drop Dead. This T-shirt is Drop Dead. I am all Drop Dead right now.
Cool.
That's how influential he is.
Yeah, he's got you hook, line and sinker.
I am just fucking giving him money every month. I'm like, have I paid Oli Sykes? Number 1. Number 2, water bill. Number 3, rent. That's the order. Gotta have my water.
We'll give you more Oli Sykes time at the end, and you can explain why he's so iconic. I've put him at number 3. I believe he's iconic for his hooks. Like, I think he's one of the, if not the best lyric writer in popular modern metalcore or metal music. Every song has some kind of call and response.
A quip.
Or a quip, yeah. The amount of like cute birthday card like puns that he's created is unbelievable.
True friends stab you in the front.
Yeah, I do hate that one.
Yeah, it's a bit cringe.
That's horrible. But
that's kind of like, you know,
but
a
that's
good example.
what a 14-year-old would like put on their like phone wallpaper. That's all I've got to say about Oli Sykes.
Not a lot to say about him, considering he's number 3.
He's not.
You like him for his quips. He makes acceptable quips.
Who does it better? He's not. No one, because he's not your number 1. So
yeah, no one.
I'm saving Oli Sykes for you. I will, but what I do have to say is he has paved the way for any band that have come after Bring Horizon to create a franchise, like a full-on business out of the genre. He has monetized fans like nobody in modern metal.
And a businessman.
He's. I don't want to praise Oli just for this, but I do like the production value of the shows that he puts on. Production value of the shows. He knows how to command the stage. The thing that lets him down
Not
the most.
as good as Rammstein. What about Till Lindemann? Where's he getting?
I don't think that Rammstein have done anything different since they like got their money.
What? What are you talking about? Have you seen their latest shows?
Fire every time. Fire. Good.
Big fire.
Yeah, bigger
like
fire.
Fucking
more money, big fire.
Beacons.
Yeah.
Who else is doing big fire like that? No one, I can tell
Bring
you.
Horizon are doing Excision level visuals.
Yeah.
Honourable mention. Excision.
Yeah. Okay, my number 3 is actually my favourite vocalist of all time. The only reason I haven't placed him higher is because he hasn't quite had that influence he hasn't transcended music. That's how he gets number 3 for me, and just because I love him. Chino Moreno. His voice is so recognisable that no one can even take slight inspiration, because if you take slight inspiration, it's so bait. Like, there's so many bands that are like fake Deftones bands. Like, fake Deftones has their own Spotify on playlists.
No comment.
Their own playlist on Spotify.
I can name a couple.
Because I didn't really want to include many older bands, because when I say the scene, I meant kind of like newer bands like Bring Me the Horizon and Forward, and maybe a little bit back. But Deftones have been going since 89, and they still feel like a modern band. Like Deftones feel like way more modern than like Korn or Limp Bizkit or like most of those other, because they've had a longer lasting influence in metal, especially in recent years.
Why Chino though?
Purely just because of his vocal talent and his producing those results live. The impact he's had on vocal production is massive. Like, when Chino was making albums in the 90s, and he was using like all these like weird phasey like reverb, all these analog like digital effects, and it sounded weird. Like, it didn't sound normal. That
was the reason I didn't like them at first. When I was in college, I think it might have been like very late year 11, or maybe my first year of college. I heard him. Well, I described him as hiding behind like just a wall of like phasing effects. He was creating a sound that I hadn't heard before. That at the time you actually couldn't find elsewhere. I've come to realize how much I like what he made, and I don't appreciate other bands copying, which I didn't want to gatekeep back then. I do now.
I think the amazing thing about Chino is that there's so many people that hide behind effects, but he's never actually hidden behind them because he has an amazing voice, and he's not using effects to hide his voice. He's using effects to enhance his voice. I think that like maybe at the time you were getting into Chino, some people were hiding behind, people were definitely hiding behind auto-tune and effects like that. Chino, I don't think has ever really used auto-tune, actually. I think that actually goes against his kind of ethics. It's always been sort of, you know, time-based and distortion effects. I've always found that so interesting, and I think he uses it really well, and I find it so refreshing that, like, when you do finally hear his raw vocals, because he does, if you listen to a lot of Deftones songs, some of them have very minimal effects, and if you see him live, he uses less effects. And to hear his raw voice is so special. It's not just his vocals as well. Like, he's known for his clean singing. His screams actually are really impressive. Like the way he does this sort of like screech, it's kind of like an inhale, and it's so high pitched, it's so visceral. And hearing it live, I've never heard anything like it. And I think that's what made them my favorite band, was seeing them live. Actually, I saw them at Reading 2013. It blew me away, man, and I was like, this is the best band I've ever seen, and to sound that good at a festival is so impressive.
He is, without being a like low level fan, like he is literally the reason I listen to Deftones. I have a lot of respect for the drums and the guitars, and that's what I love too. But like when I was going through their catalogue, trying to find songs that I actually liked, because I don't like all of their songs, I'd be looking out for songs where Chino is performing at a level that I expect. What's that song, When Girls Telephone Boys? The screeches that he makes in that song are unbelievable. Then you can go to YouTube and try and find a video of him playing that live. He'll do it the same or better.
Do you know that whole song there's a telephone effects on his voice as well, as if he's talking through like a telephone. But like it's quite light, but like it's like he's leaving like the angriest voicemail you ever heard. But what I love about that song is actually the guitar, and it's just like, it's so unrelenting, it's simple, but the way Steph plays it, like listening into that guitar riff, like tuning into it, that the synergy between the vocals and the guitar is just, but I see that as like an art piece. Like when I listen to that song, I'm like, it's painting a like abstract art piece. It's like splashes of paint. It's so like, not many bands are able to make me visualize stuff like that. Like I'm so locked in, I can hear his pain. Not many vocalists are able to convey emotion like that, and bands are still being influenced today, which I think speaks volumes about him, which is why he's number 2, because he's still influencing bands today. They've had such an impressive career. They started in 89, still influencing bands today. Like no one's really doing that. Deftones has planted the seed that people are still flourishing from today, like Loathe and like other bands like that. Their music has such replayability. They will like utilize technology, and Chino's vocals are in another world. I could talk about Deftones all night. I'll move on to so that was my number 3. We've done your number 3, so number 2 for you now. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Vessel. Sleep Token.
Oh my god, I was not expecting that.
They are kind of new to the playing field. They've been around for longer than you think. He has created a world where he stands as the most iconic person in the room. It is unmistakable where you are if you are standing in an arena looking at him commanding the crowd. The way he dresses himself, the way the lights are designed to backlight him, the tone of his voice, that deep, rich tone of his voice.
It is iconic. It really is iconic.
Extremely iconic. They are controversial in the scene. I think quite like petty reasons. You know, they do take it slow in some songs. They're not so they can be boring, or they can be a bit genre mashing. You know, they haven't been here long enough to deserve where they're at with arena tours. I don't really get that opinion. I do think he one of the most iconic vocalists in the scene right now.
You know what? It's weird. Like I didn't even consider Vessel, because I see Sleep Token as like the whole package, because that's how they sort of convey themselves to a passive listener like me. They have social media media and stuff, don't they? I don't follow them on social media, so I think that's probably why
Each member has social media, I believe, and there's a band account, yeah. I mean, everyone draws the comparisons to Slipknot. People had a favourite member. It's literally like having a favourite Power Ranger or something.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
You do become attached to a certain member, and you kind of like the characteristics of them or whatever. I've lost a bit of that now. Unfortunately, where I think the iconography of the band Sleep Token falls a bit flat is they let too much sort of personality come out on stage. Like, I found Sleep Token, I was taken back by how well they are creating a lore. There's no
one's putting in that attention to detail.
There's
really.
a rich lore. They hide themselves so well. Not so much anymore, but they really did hide identity. And on stage they were, especially Vessel would come out. He has never said a word to the crowd. He's only ever sang. He's as Vessel. That man has never spoken a word.
I thought he spoke to the crowd, but he only ever spoke in lyrics.
There's no talking in between songs.
Okay, I got the wrong.
I think in the more recent tour they have played a voice that I don't think is Vessel, but they've played a voice that explains a bit of lore.
Okay.
I haven't actually seen that, but I've heard about that.
I really want to see them live, actually.
So do I.
I'm going to see them at Download, actually.
I'll get onto that in a minute. Where their iconography falls short.
Can I just interject very quickly? Because this is something I wanted to bring up that's not on our running order. Did you see recently that that Vessel was caught on stage with what looks like a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck, and it's just gone a bit viral, and they're like, apparently it seems like part of their set or something, but someone comes over to him and it looks like he's showing them how to do something on a game on a Steam Deck. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that, to be fair.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, surely this isn't part of their show, because their show's so immersive it wouldn't include a fucking Steam Deck. Some people think it's just like, maybe it is a Steam Deck, but it's controlling the levels.
Maybe.
He's in all his gear, and everyone's gone wild. They're like, oh my god, Vessel's playing Nintendo Switch.
That could be what it is. Like, that's where I think their iconography falls short. Sometimes the band members get a little bit quirky. Like, one of the band members is known as like a bit of a slinky boy, because he's always so like wiggly on stage, and like they act a bit funny, or you'll hear their voice like scream along to the songs, or they'll like bump into each other and act a bit silly with each other. And I think that completely ruins like the lore and the vibe that they're putting out. If you were to stand at the back of them and not see that, you would be so immersed in that sonic like dome that they create and the world they plant you in. But they do act a bit silly on stage. Not so much Vessel, but the other members do a lot more.
His silly little kids.
Yeah.
Naughty little fucking kids.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to hate on them, because I think what they've made is incredible, but like that does kill it a little bit for me. But on the upside,
they might just be having fun.
Of course they are. Like, it would. My thought process is like, they have climbed to dizzying heights really quickly. Of course they're having fun, and they haven't been able to show it. They have to be these like Templar
characters.
Kings and these characters. I can't hate that they are having a good time on stage, but it does ruin the illusion a little bit.
That's a good point.
Where they pull crackers with each other on stage, or like spin around. The bass is spinning around like constantly. It's like, you look really cool, but now you look really silly. Like, so
what got you into Sleep Token originally?
I think it was literally a recommended song on the YouTube side panel, and it was probably The Night Does Not Belong to You, which is track 1 off their Sundowning album. Album art looked sick, so I clicked on it. It was like, it gave me a bit of like a Tesseract sort of vibe. That was literally it. But then when I got onto that video, you get fed all these other songs that came with emblems. That was what I told you about. I was like, this band is doing it so right. They were like, I went on their website, looked like they had merch that had an emblem that represented each song. This is back to the sort of business acumen of Oli Sykes. Like, I was like, these guys like have figured out how to monetize each song as a symbol, release each song one at a time. And also, like, it was just a band that, like, one of the reasons I loved Tesseract, they just perfect their low end when it comes to the actual mix. And not many metal bands do that. I had to have such a clean sounding low end. It's like it's something that I can't get enough of in metal, because there isn't enough of it. And then the lore. It was interesting. Well,
that's something you wouldn't see upon first glance. Like, I know they have good lore and I can kind of see it from afar, but I've actually never obviously got deep enough into it to kind of appreciate it. So that's, I suppose, like the cherry on top, like the lore that they have.
You don't have to search too far to realize what Vessel's voice is capable of. and it is varied.
I love his voice, actually. You know what? When I first heard it, I hated it. I really didn't like it. I was like, this is weird. It sounds kind of indie. It sounds kind of, put on. It sounded like a fake act. I can't even remember what songs I heard first, but then I heard Alkaline, and I was like, I would really like this song if it wasn't sung by Vessel. And it wasn't until they brought out their album recently with The Summoning, and I love that song. I love how many different places it goes, because I loved it so much, because of how different his vocals sound. I grew to really like them because they're so distinct and they're so unique. It went from a negative to a massive net positive.
That is probably like the thing that grabs most people, is they see that mask and they're like, okay, well, I've got to know what it sounds like.
Something serious is going on.
Yeah, there. Something serious is going on, or if you better be good enough to wear a mask on stage every night, otherwise you're just copying Slipknot. They've earned it.
Yeah.
I do, hold on to it is like a little bit of a done thing to wear masks, but you can kind of also see that
it's effective.
It's more about the music than the people behind it. They don't want to be, at least the lead singer, he doesn't. I can imagine the musicians really want to have their face out there. At least Vessel wants it to be about the story and the music, not so much who's behind it. He's an easy number 2 for me.
So number 2 for me, someone we spoke about previously, Ronnie Radke, number 2.
Fair enough, I'll hear you out.
I love Ronnie Radke. I think he is a genius.
He's going to love that.
The first time I heard his voice, his croaky voice with that twang, I was hooked. I know it's cheesy, I know he plays into it, but I eat it all up, man. Like the fact he started that band from prison. He talks about singing these, as his quote, gay emo lyrics in a cell, trying not to let the big bad prison men hear him singing why do good girls like bad guys, with his twang, just picturing that in prison, and then coming out, doing that Brian Stars interview, being sober, bulking up through such peaks and troughs, being at the height of Escape the Fate. It's literally watching a movie, seeing his career pan out and being there from the start of that. So the start of it for me was his heights of Escape the Fate, seeing him in those videos of situations, knowing he's in prison, being I'm kind of I love that guy's voice, that's a shame he went to prison. Out of nowhere, bang, he's back with Falling in Reverse. He's written this whole album in prison. Yeah. And I was so behind that. And that's never happened. There's never been a more compelling story than that in the scene that we're talking about. I just think it's incomparable. And what he's done is unbelievable. If we're talking modern metal bands, so bands that were concepted post-2000, Falling in Reverse, the second biggest behind Bring Horizon. The impact he's had and how good Popular Monster, he is the glue that brings talented musicians together. How good was that first guitarist that he brought in from the UK?
Jackie Vincent, yeah.
How good were his solos on that 25th? He gets slept on as a guitarist. Yeah. The producers, Tyler Smith, that's it. He is amazing. And then the videography is on another level. It's the best music videos I've ever seen. You may not like the style of it, but just the production quality is unbelievable. Who's doing music videos on that level? No one. Not even Bring Me. I'm sure they will do eventually. But for me, why he's my number 2 is the story. I really buy into that story, and being there from when I was 17, watching him come out of prison and have digs at Craig Mabbitt and that rivalry, and it's just who else has had an even comparable story than Ronnie Radke?
I think a lot of alternative artists out there have had a pretty rocky road to their celebrity.
But involving so many bands. So here's a fun fact, that Craig Mabbitt, before Escape the Fate, was at the start of Bless the Fool, who are still relevant. They just released a song with Alpha Wolf. Mm-hmm. And The Word Alive, he was at the start of them. He was their first vocalist, who were in game League of Legends soundtrack recently and got their biggest song. The amount of bands I found through Escape the Fate and Falling in Reverse as well have just always been with me. No matter what phase of music I was in, I've always kept with me Falling in Reverse and Escape the Fate. Yeah, they just mean a lot to me, and I am so happy to see Ronnie thriving. And also just his personality online is just so entertaining. I don't agree with everything he says. I do find a lot of it funny, though. I find it entertainment. The entertainment value is so high.
Can't argue with that. For me to put him anywhere near my top 5, I would need him to take away some of his ego. I watch some online stuff as well, and some of the tours that he's been on recently, they've had a riser at the front of the stage, so he is standing taller. As an audience member, you are below the stage. Your head is about stage height. He's on a pedestal that puts him a good couple of feet above that. However, the band are clearly not allowed to step 1 foot on that thing, because I've watched a couple of full sets. Not one band member stands on that pedestal. And the pedestal, the riser is as wide as the stage, no matter where they're playing. So it's just Ronnie walking back and forth on this riser. To a lot of people, I mean, the band's not even visible. Like, you can hardly see them. They're like almost like a orchestra band. Like, it kind of sucks.
I don't think it's as bad as you're making out from the videos I've seen. Like, yeah, he is like higher than the rest of the band, but you can still see them. Like, they're not playing like little shows. They're playing like fucking arenas.
They are playing big shows, and they've hired like Luke Holland to come and tour with them.
And most people that have seen them recently, like, you would have been able to see the band members from where
glimpse of them
you're
behind
if you're
gear.
standing and you're at the front, yeah, you're only going to see him. But if you're like towards the back, you're gonna
but you are they are slightly hidden by gear. With like, you're not seeing the full body of any of the artists, because other than Ronnie, they are slightly hidden behind.
I need to look into that, to be fair. I wish I could have seen him on Sunday and got back to you, but yeah, that sucks for Mark from Vale of Maya. Did you hear that he cancelled a Vale of Maya tour to go on tour with Ronnie Radke?
I liked them. I liked Falling in Reverse a lot when I was younger, but I've become, as I've sort of like gotten a bit older, I've thought he's less and less relatable. I cannot sanction someone who's like that up themselves, and maybe it takes a certain amount of confidence. Can't idolize someone like that, really. I cannot deny his talent. Like, I
do get where you're coming from, and I think the way I see it is I kind of admire and respect him how I admire and respect Kanye. He's not quite as egotistical as Kanye, but it's kind of like a spectacle to see someone that kind of brutally honest and himself. That confidence is infectious, and it is really entertaining to see that. I don't see him as a relatable person, basically. I see him as an entertainer, and I think he sees himself as that. He's not trying to appeal to people as a relatable person. He's trying to appeal to people as like a rock star, as like someone that's larger than life.
Yeah, he's not down to earth at all. But, you know, he is an entertainer through and through. I won't hate him for that. He's an entertainer at heart. He believes in himself more than anybody does, and he will stay that way. There are some people out there that are just made to be in the spotlight. Yeah. And they are the biggest fan, and that's whether it's a defense mechanism or if it's just they believe in themselves that much to push them through to the end and do the best they can. I can't hate that.
It's a turn off for you, though.
It is a turn off for me.
Yeah, I get that.
But
I get that.
I want people to stand on their own merit and have their what they produce speak for itself. I don't need someone loving themselves.
To be honest,
in front
it's
of
a
me.
little bit of a side effect for me. Like, I would like it just as much if he was relatable and down to earth than if he was the way he is. It's kind of more interesting because not as many people are able to entertain the way he does and be so larger than life.
Sure, he's putting on a show.
But that isn't actually why I like him. It's a side effect for why I like him. And I think why I like him so much is because of the story that he's and like he talks about him making these songs. Like he said he's so dedicated to what he does. You can't discredit him for how hard he works, even though he's egotistical. He said he's written sometimes over 50 different vocal choruses until he's got the one.
But like you watch the Motley Crue Netflix thing.
Yeah,
like that. Every single one of those members has had a bigger come up story than Ronnie Radke, and they only just made a movie about it a few years ago. But like, I don't think Ronnie. He went to prison for a bit. I can't remember what he did. Whatever it was, it didn't make him cool. Like, but he seems to think it makes him really, really cool. And now he raps, and now he's like really buff, and he sings to emo girls. And like, I don't care. Like, I can't. He is a very good showman. One of the better vocalists in the scene. He has got an incredible range. He's a very good singer, but I cannot stand how much he thinks that of himself either.
That's fair enough. I totally understand your argument, actually. Yeah. To be honest, I do enjoy how provocative he is. I enjoy the reactions people get from him. Yeah. Because it's entertaining to me, because I never take it too seriously, but some people really do. That adds to his story. He's always kind of weaving this tapestry that I've been on this Ronnie roller coaster since 2017, since 2013.
Yeah, it's poisoned your mind.
And it has poisoned my mind, and I'm loving it.
Anyway, we need to stop talking about our number twos.
We've been...
My number one, I'm gonna throw a curveball here. Don't hear about him too much anymore, although he has been showing up on a few podcasts.
Joe Rogan.
It's Andrew Huberman.
Who the hell is that?
He's like a health podcaster. My number one most iconic vocalist
Gerard
is
Way?
Serj Tankian.
Ooh. Really?
He is... You cannot get more unique in this scene
No, you can't.
than Serj Tankian, in my opinion. Maybe Ronnie Radke. Or
No, he's way more.
Oli
Way
Sykes
more unique.
was your number one.
Yeah, he's my number one. No, you're right. Out of everyone we mentioned, he has the most distinct voice, Serj Tankian.
Yeah.
Because I made a similar video to this recently about who were the modern versions of the big six. We couldn't really pick one for System of a Down. Like, no one really sounds like them because of Serj. The only one is Maximum the Hormone.
But then that gets into... Them? Yeah, I love Maximum. I loved... Well,
you love them?
Did, yeah. Get off my shoe.
Oi, allow it, Cussington Frodos. Yeah, that's literally the only one I could think of, though. But yeah, carry on. Why is Serj Tankian? I didn't even know you were that big System of a Down fan.
I started playing some of their music again on Spotify, and I didn't realise how much of it I actually knew. Like, there's a couple of albums there.
Name
you know, a couple of albums there. The one,
self-titled.
Yeah, steal this album. Yeah, Drake copied that, I think. Doesn't he have like a steal this album sort of like marker pen album?
I don't know. I should know that. I'm not a massive Drake fan.
Drake's your number one iconic artist. The one that has BYOB. BYOB.
That has BYOB.
Yeah, Soldier Side. No, it's.
What are you talking about, man? How can you not know your favourite System of a Down?
I've had like 6 beers while you talked about Ronnie Radke.
Fair point. It's Mesmerise you're thinking of.
Mesmerise. That's the one with the sort of like the sort of ghoul masks on it.
It's like a Egyptian sort of abstract.
Isn't
it crazy they released both albums the same year, I think? Hypnotise and Mesmerise.
Excellent discography. I haven't listened to everything they put out.
You acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's your number one. You can't even name one bloody album.
I talked about Serj Tankian for a bit.
Steal This Album. Name one song from Steal This Album.
Ariel.
Got ya. That's from Toxicity. You don't know shit about Serj Tankian, and you're crowning him number one. What's with that, man?
Well,
I caught you.
I'm unbiased. Look, you're think like Ronnie Radke and Oli Sykes are like fucking they're the dog's balls to you, right? But you listen to their songs round the clock. You buy their merch. I don't know Serj Tankian's bloody first song. Like, I don't know many of his song titles, but
just shows you're uneducated, really.
Maybe this actually does make me look pretty bad.
I might have to edit this out.
Please edit this out. I stand by that. Like, I'm not their biggest fan. I did really.
You're acting like you're their.
No, I'm not.
Their biggest fan.
I'm not.
How can you be your number one if you're not their biggest fan?
We're talking about most iconic. Like, no one gives a shit about these iconic. Like, no one cares.
We're taking far too long.
Yeah, no one cares about this, but he has the most iconic voice in the scene, and I don't think I can be disagreed with. I'm not wrong. I stand by it. Whether I'm their biggest fan or not, I'm not letting that influence my choice. You somehow think iconic means influential and favourite. That's what I'm gleaning from this. But I think they are the most unique, the most themselves, the most identifiable.
Fair play.
That's what makes an iconic brand. I mean, I'm in marketing. Like, that's the case.
All right.
I'm not showing off. I'm not showing off. But I know a thing or two about iconography.
No, you're right, man. I actually don't know anything about iconography. I've based mine off
Merch.
what merch they release, primarily. Who's got the best merch?
And apparently
I don't
it's,
even know. To be honest,
how's
I
Ollie's merch?
don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Popular monster. Popular fucking... Yeah.
Popular monster.
Your popular catching a case in the future.
Just
You
hitting the
alluded
rest.
to this earlier. What's your number one?
So my number one is Oli Sykes. I have loved Oli Sykes ever since discovering them in school, and I just think he is the most attractive, influential genius of the metalcore scene. I modelled my hair on him. I was... Stop looking at me like that, man. I was so obsessed with him. I find it so impressive how on the pulse they are, and Oli Sykes is behind all that. And yeah, his influence has extended beyond music, like with Drop Dead, the clothing, and he was a non-negotiable when I was making this list. I just knew
he was your
he'd
number
be-
one before you
Yeah.
listed them out.
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that's my number one.
I can't be upset. Ronnie is a bit too close to Ollie in my
That'll
opinion.
upset you. We'll move on. So we've gone through our iconic vocalists, which no one actually cares about. No one cares about our opinion,
They're not here
according
for
to Alan.
They want the news, the
No, you're
hard-hitting
right. Yeah,
news.
they want the news. So speaking of news, another festival akin to Download, Sick New World, was actually cancelled. People have speculated that some massive names to headline the festival. It was Linkin Park and Metallica were the two big headliners.
Really?
And it turns out, apparently, both those bands were set to receive $10 million each. And that's why they couldn't keep up with the festival, because they didn't sell enough tickets within the first week or so.
What? So the festival just promised that amount of money to each
They
band?
could, based on previous years, they were confident that they could offer that.
I didn't even know about the festival. That's crazy money.
Yeah, 10 million each.
Who gets paid for
Just for one set. And there was
Metallica-
loads of other bands like Bring Me and just like massive
That's
bands.
crazy. Metallica play everywhere all the time, and like everyone who's wanted to see Metallica has had a chance to see them.
Yeah.
I do not get why they're getting paid.
Apparently it was a mixture between Metallica and Linkin Park having shows in the US that are around a similar time. It didn't make sense, and also with the economic situation that's going on in America, people have less money and people don't want to travel all the way to Vegas where it was. It got completely the rug pulled out under it. It's never nice when a festival loses, the right to put on their festival and has to let down everyone involved. It's really sad. It just sucks for metal in general, but there's plenty of other festivals in America. Like, at least it wasn't a UK festival. At least it's not Download.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is, I suppose.
I mean, I didn't even know about that festival, but yeah, that is sad. They do still do that hugely popular one in Vegas when we were young one, and I think that lineup for this year. Have you looked at that lineup for next year? Yet?
I did have a little look at it. Yeah,
insane, and it always is.
Yeah, maybe that's competition as well for Sick New
sure.
World. Well, that will do for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We're going to be covering metal news, more festival stuff, more interviews coming up. So yeah, stay posted for the next one. I've been Forrest. This has been Alan. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.